Hi, everyone. My name is Jonathan Burkowski. I'm an application engineer at Danfoss. Danfoss, we're a global company that produces and sells HVAC components to major manufacturers, HVAC manufacturers. We sell heat exchangers, valves, compressors, and controls. So you're hearing from me today because I, like you, studied at Coastal Carolina Community College, and I took Introduction to Engineering with Mr. David Wainaina. So I want to talk to you guys a little bit today about my time at Coastal, and then maybe my transfer to university, a little bit about my job search, just to give everyone an idea of maybe what you're looking at in the future. Now, I attended Coastal between 2015 and 2017, so it's been some time, almost 10 years. But hopefully, some of my what I can tell you guys today will help you and will be relevant to your job search and your time in studying engineering. All right. So a little bit about me. I joined the Marine Corps out of high school, so I didn't attend college until later in life. I was 30 when when I started at Coastal. But again, hopefully some of this, there might be some, older students like I was, or maybe you're fresh out of high school, but I think what I'm going to talk about today should be relevant to everyone. All right. So really, like my engineering journey started when I was still in the Marine Corps. I had an idea that I wanted to be an engineer because I'd met some engineers, but I didn't really know how. Right, so my first step was get out of the Marine Corps, and then I enrolled at Coastal Carolina Community College. Um, Big thing there is I know Coastal's got a good set of counselors and they have some great instructors. I had an idea what I wanted to do, and there's tons of people have done this prior to me or you doing this. So ask questions. I got in a good curriculum. I studied. Obviously, just like y'all, math, science, but really, Mr. Wainaina's intro to engineering class was very helpful for me because even at that point, I didn't know what in industries there were. I knew what engineers do, but it was very broad. So, Mr. Wainaina's class was very helpful for me to explore what was out there, different types of engineering. I think at the time I wanted to be a civil engineer. I did a presentation on coastal engineering as well. But here I am today. I ended up studying mechanical, and I work in the HVAC industry. So what you think you might decide now and what happens could change over the next 3 to 4 or 5 years, depending on how long it takes before you get your degree. But just know that this is a great start. Um, let's see. So yeah, my time at Coastal, right? So I personally, I think my time at Coastal was very foundational. Mr. Wainaina and the rest of the staff there really uh, helped me build those blocks. I learned to study at Coastal. I relearned math. I went from algebra all the way through. I think the last math class I took there was Calculus 2 with Mr. Wainaina before I transferred. So I mean, I really I built a good base in math, science. Studying was the biggest one, right? So when I transferred out of Coastal, I had an associate science degree, and I transferred to UNC Charlotte. So that's another piece, right? So if you go to school at Coastal and you transfer to a North Carolina State university, whether it be UNC or NC State or ECU, a lot of these classes are transferable. Don't hold me to it. It's been 10 years or so, but talk to your instructors and counselors. But like I know the Intro to Engineering course was transferable to the university, so that was very helpful. Uh, Again, transferring to UNC Charlotte, I look back at my time in Coastal, and I was very thankful for it because, when you get to university, there's not as much one-on-one with the instructors. So that time I had with Mr. Wainaina and everyone else in the math department, that one-on-one instruction was very helpful for me, and I think it will be for you as well. So please take advantage of it. When you get to university, it's a little more hands off with the instructors, maybe a little more pressure, bigger classes, but it's easy to adapt. My biggest advice for anyone here is when you do transfer to university, take full advantage of tutoring. Um, Peer tutoring is excellent on university campuses. UNC Charlotte had a great program. So every math and science class that I took there, I could meet with people that had already taken the class and were willing to um, share and help teach the material. So, looking back, and again, it's been a few years, but I vividly remember working with tutors, and they helped me get the grades I needed to get through engineering school. So, what else can I talk about? So, at you know, university is again, it's just another piece. It's very similar to community college, but you'll have more opportunities. So at that point, I want to talk a little bit about co-ops and internships. These are things that I did not take advantage of when I was at university. I did not have a co-op or an internship. So internships would be like a summer internship, or maybe during the year where you're working part-time with a company doing engineering work. Or a co-op is where you put off you might put your graduation off and to work for a semester for a company, right? Like they know that you're not a degreed engineer yet, but you're part of the co-op program, and you'll work with them, get experience with them, and then go back to finish your studies. Some people don't think it's. Some people might not want to put off your graduation. That wasn't something that I was interested in, but for many people, it's a great idea because with internships and co-ops come experience, and you'll find that the more experience you have before you graduate, the easier it is to find a job. You've already put time in with someone, with a company you might want to work for. So I think that's very helpful. Again, I didn't do that, and did I have challenges getting hired? Maybe yes, maybe no. I started looking for work during the pandemic, so it was 2020, so it was very difficult. But I think I started looking for work in the very beginning of my senior year. So maybe 100 applications to 100 different uh, jobs, and I interviewed to maybe 4 or 5 of them, and then I ended up working for Carrier Corporation here in Charlotte, North Carolina. And when I was a Carrier, I designed chillers, um, air cooled chillers. So that was a really interesting piece. And that's how I got into the HVAC industry, right? So I didn't really put a lot of thought into it. Maybe you have. Maybe you've thought about the industry you want to work in, and maybe you're going to maybe that'll be your target. But for me, I was looking for work, and I happened to fall into the HVAC industry, which I'm very thankful I did, because this is great industry, great people, great work. But again, you might have something your mind made up what you want to do, and that's fine. Or you might be like me and just kind of explore and see what's out there, and that's fine as well. Just know that there's a large amount of not just jobs but industries that you could go into, right? I mean, just off the top of just spitballing a few. There's automotive, there's aerospace, HVAC, which again I'm particularly fond of. I mean, materials, just manufacturing in general. I mean, there's so many different jobs you could get into. So start thinking about it now. While you're early on, start thinking about what you want to do, and that might help you get to that point, right? If you have a better plan than I did. But just so you know, if you do have a vague or broad plan, it'll still work out. But at some point, you do need to make a decision where, who do you want to work for? What do you want to do? What do you want the next after graduation? What do you want those 5 years to look like? And I'm still, I've been working for about 5 years now. So, and I don't know I still think about what do I want the next 5 years to look like, right? So it's constant learning. Let's see. I just want to get back to the university piece. So we talked a little bit about co-ops, a little bit about job search, industries, interviewing. If that, I know some people get concerned about interviewing, but really that's something that'll come to you. If you're starting early at Coastal Carolina Community College, you're going to have plenty of opportunities to interview for internships, co-ops, projects. That's not something I think I need to really hit on too hard, but just know that in engineering, from my experience, most of the time when I've interviewed with companies, they really want to get to know you more than anything. They verify your background and everything, your degree, but they really want to get to know you as the person, not so much have you, scribbling equations on the board or anything like that. I mean, maybe if you're a software engineer, but again, I'm mechanical, so. But yeah, so let's see some more considerations. As I mentioned, I'll touch back on coastal. You know, really think about Coastal Carolina Community College as your foundation for your engineering career. Because to me, I still tell my coworkers, my manager, we talk about education all the time, and I still bring up Coastal Carolina Community College, Mr. David Wainaina's Intro to Engineering class. It was very helpful for me, and again, it really helped me get to where I am now. Uh, let's see, and then I guess I can talk a little bit about the HVAC industry in general. So if you're interested, or if you think you might be interested, HVAC is interesting because there's a few different pieces to it. Um, when I first started working, I worked for an OEM, or an original equipment manufacturer. So that was Carrier Corporation. Now you've probably heard of Train, Carrier, Daikin, some of the larger companies. And then there's some smaller companies as well. So there's tons of different manufacturers. And then there's suppliers. And that's where I work. Where I work now is at Danfoss. We're a supplier. So there's jobs with manufacturers, jobs with suppliers. Then there's jobs with mechanical companies. So anytime these companies sell their HVAC equipment, right? There's contractors that do the installation. There's engineers that do mechanical design for buildings, HVAC design for buildings. So that's a whole nother piece of it. And then there's engineers at the suppliers developing the components, right? So I'm part of a sales team now, and I sell heat exchangers, but we also have heat exchanger engineers. We've got compression engineers, people that design these pieces and parts and components for us. So I mean, there's an endless opportunity. And if you look at any other industry, like automotive, for example, you're going to see the same thing. You're going to have your major manufacturers. You're going to have your suppliers, your smaller manufacturers, your support. I mean, there's so many jobs and so many different companies. So I just wanted to get that out there, something to think about. Um, so yeah, if I know Mr. Wainaina will share my contact information. So if anybody has any questions or want to talk to me further about my time at Coastal, UNC Charlotte, or getting into the workforce, please reach out to me. All right, and thanks for your time. Have a great day.